Hello, welcome to another tonal landscape oil painting demonstration. This is your painter in residence. I'm Francis McCarthy, and the painting I'm bringing you today, it's a little mini. Oh, it's pretty big on the screen, eh? We'll talk about it. It's called Amber Shore. It's 3.5 by 3.5 inches, and I painted this last week, and I want to share it with you because I think it's pretty cool. Sometimes it seems like the trees by the seas don't do well, but I don't know. I think it's a beautiful little painting, and also very awesome in the members area and the Substack Studio Pass. So go check it out there. Maybe we'll talk about that more at the end of the video. But um, anyway, we're working on a little board now. It's quite a bit more red than I like these days. It's been sitting around primed for a while because I've gone to a slightly less red board as my main preference. But what I did here to adapt was I kind of juiced up the burn umber a little bit with some rose madder deep, and you wouldn't even be able to tell, I don't think, unless I told you. And we're doing the underpainting with what I call them a stubby. It's a brush that's just been worn down to a little stub. And now in the old days, the old M. Francis Painter days, that wasn't an option because I didn't have the excellent brush cleaning system that I've had in place for many years now. And you can tell many years because this stubby still has flexibility. The type is worn out on the handle of the brush, but it's been worn down to maybe half of its size. This would have been a 2. Well, still is a 2. Robert Simmons, just worn down. I like the stubbies because I can kind of abuse them. I can scrub with them. I really see the underpainting stage as a drawing stage. And I don't always use stubbies. I kind of go through different sorts of roundabouts. Mostly, I guess, in the drawing stage, I don't want a brush that's real floppy. I like the stubby because, like I say, I can abuse them, and my mentation in the underpainting is to draw, mass draw. And if you don't know what mass drawing is, it's a type of drawing that is not based on so much on lines. There can be lines involved, but the idea is to work with the masses of the, in this case, landscape. So we're worked out now. One big difference between the trees I did here and the reference, which you can see in the well, what's great about the Studio Pass is it's right there in the email you get. But it's also in a really nice mixing session, which is available at the Substack Studio Pass and the YouTube members area. So check that out, and nice color mixing session there too, so you can see the reference, the color mixing. And one thing you'd notice if you were looking at that reference is that I don't know, maybe 6 or 7 tree trunks in that. Now you wouldn't want to try and do that, even if I was painting this bigger, but especially if you're going to scale down to mini sorts of things, you've got to really simplify even more. And simplification is always a massive, massive aspect of landscape painting. I've covered, I touched on it in the last book that we sell now, and I've dedicated a whole chapter to it in the new 4 volume series that I'm working on, which is coming out next year. I'm committing to it now because I know I'm close enough. The book's been written. The editor's finishing up. Well, I guess they're finishing up. They're working on the last volume they haven't edited, and I'm working on formatting it for print. So, which is ongoing. I got to keep a lot of what do you call it, plates up in the air right now. I got to make these videos. I got to do my paintings, and keep up with everything. So, and do the book. I'm working on the book, and it's going to be awesome. Anyway, coming in with the sky now. So far we haven't got any blue in this painting, by the way, and that is going to be one of the chapters in the book. Gray instead of blue. We're using gray, and really to get that classic kind of look. Now that is also gray. That's ivory black mixed with white. I think I could have possibly put a little tints of Prussian blue in there. Not sure though. Doesn't really matter because when it's surrounded by warm colors, the gray you get with ivory black and titanium white is a very cool and bluish looking gray. And when you use it instead of blue, you get a far more tonal result. Okay, and I do use blue. In fact, another new artist just moved into the quarry, and she got some paints that were donated to her, and asked me if I wanted any of them. I was poking through it, and there's a whoever the lady that donated the paints was, a whole drawer full of blues. I say to this new lady, I says, I'm a one blue kind of guy. It's Prussian or phthalo. She says, oh, I'm just the same. And I don't particularly care for ultramarine, and it's especially hard to use ultramarine to get tonal results. Now, you know who loved the old ultramarine? The Impressionists. They loved it. And of course, back in the day, the color made with the lapis lazuli. Oh, beautiful, you know. You're going to paint a cloak, you're going to paint something like that. Fine, use your ultramarine. But for landscape painting, I think phthalo blue, Prussian blue, they're interchangeable. They do have differences, though. I prefer the Prussian blue mostly because of the history. You know, there's interesting history behind it, which we'll get into. Right, yeah. So we got the sky in. You know, it's always the same with the old Uncle Mike here. Put in the do the underpainting. Well, actually, let's zoom back. Let's zoom out. Find yourself a photo. This is based on a photo I took many years back. I manipulated, and made lots of different paintings from it, actually. First time I made a little mini from it. I flipped it and did some more messing around with it. And I like to juice up these reference photos quite a lot. I cover that in the book that I'm currently selling. That's my book. And we are closing in on 200 copies shipped, which I'm very proud of. You know, it was my dream, honestly, to get someone like Northlight. I don't know if you're an old guy like me. You have a ton of painting books from Northlight. Of course, they got bought by Penguin or somebody like that, and don't do nothing no more. So there you go. What I have to say about instructional type books is they really, you can't do that on the Kindle. Trust me, I've been looking into that for the new book, which is not a how-to like the one I'm selling now. It's more of a series of chapters, each breaking down a certain point. Yeah, and all the chapters are kind of interrelated. It's like a matrix. You know, the thing about landscape painting is that everything affects everything else. I mean, starting with the proportions of the board, the size of the board, the types of brushes, or the fact it's oil paint. Now, oil paint can do a lot of different things. I mean, it's probably the most flexible medium for making art that there is. You can go very thin or very thick. You can do it's a very matte or very shiny. It's great if we're getting effects like I get all the time. Yeah, but there's a lot of ways to go wrong with it too. That's why I decided. So the genesis behind the new book is I used to have a blog, and I've been talking and doing this thing on the YouTube for a long time, and insights are always being imparted, and so this is like 2025. That's basically the 10-year anniversary of me seriously YouTubing with my paintings you know, on a regular basis. And so it was time to look back. And I kept thinking, wow, all these insights, I want to get them out. Now, of course, I touch on them in the how-to book I'm selling now, but you know, a lot of things you can go into quite a bit of more depth. But I will say this: I'm not into. It's not like one of these books from the 1800s. You know, if you've ever tried to read some of that, you know, where they'll use 100 words, where in the modern lexicon we use 25. You know, I said what needed to be said. Get in, get out, and that's what you'll be able to do as well. All right, so this is typical. You know, I get the darks in after the sky. And this a lot of times I might put the greens in as well. Here I decided, nah, I'm going to go and get that water in. I didn't do the aqua thing because it just would have stuck out like a sore thumb. This is a very tonal painting, and I hate to say it, as much as I love the aqua thing, and much as I would say in any of those paintings, welcome to another tonal landscape oil painting demonstration. Yeah, not much tonal about aqua. Not really. This is a tonal approach. You can see it's an echo of what's going on up in the sky, which is a yellow-gray thing with subdued oranges. I didn't want to go too far with any of that. Same thing in the reference. If you're seeing that in the Substack Studio Pass or the members area there, the greens I'm going to be coming in with, like I'm thinking right now. Yep. Uh, these are a little more poppin', a little more green, a little less grayed, and but the overall effect is still very tonal, very harmonious. And you can think, a lot of people go, "What's tonalism? What's that?" Uh, well, this isn't an easel talk, but uh, that's the kind of stuff I do in the easel talks. What's the? It's harmony, my friends. Okay, that's what it is. All the colors are like you put your hands in front of you and interlock your fingers. That's harmony. That's everything, kind of tying back to everything else and creating a harmonious sort of presentation. It's, by the way, it's not just color. I go into this in the last book, and I go into super deep depth in the new book. It's the value structure is really the key to creating tonal harmony in your work. Now, the thing is, though, it's like you can't actually, in reality, separate the value structure of the painting from the color, because value is a component of each color. How light or dark it is. Well, the color itself is identified by the hue. Is it green or red or orange or purple or whatever it is, or greenish, bluish green, or greenish red, that kind of thing. Um, but you can think of them separately, and you can certainly paint that way. I mean, that's how the masters did it. They would paint a toned underpainting, either black and white, or they would use raw or burnt umber, and then they would glaze in their color over that. Right now, probably can't use burnt umber is a tricky color, because you can sometimes use it to kill color, but it actually has a ton of chroma in it. Yeah, I love it. It's a desert island color for me now, as is its sister raw umber. There I'd have black, white, raw umber, cad yellow. If I had to go desert island, I'd go with the cads, even though they're chalkier. Um, because of their incredible pigment strength, you could do more with them. Yeah. You just, oh God, I just did a painting and recording. You're not gonna see it. It's actually, I'm not gonna destroy it either. It's a saleable painting. It's just, I've been struggling with problems with my back office here with the Adobe's, and I won't get into it to say anything else, but they done pissed me off for the last time. So I was using that software to set up my reference and things, and I'm moving into other applications now. And yeah, that's been a major strain, and a major strain because I've been in the Adobe since '97. Anyway, forget about them. They're gone. Going to be using Affinity, and by the way, if you haven't heard of it, I'm probably, because Affinity is free. I may be doing some targeted sort of reference creation tutorials there. I did do some tutorials in the past, but in hindsight, of course, I'm paying for the Adobe's, but most people aren't and don't want to. And this way, you'd be able to follow along in a free program. So if you have any interest in that, let me know in a comment. If I get even the smallest amount of encouragement, I'll probably do it. And on the other hand, if I don't get any encouragement, I probably won't do it, because in my experience on the channel, most people just want to know about the painting, and I don't blame you. Who wants to mess around with computers? But what I will say in our last minute here is that one of the main things that went wrong with that painting that I didn't like very much I did this week was already in the reference. I was already not happy in the reference, and I wasn't able to create a great painting from that reference, which I knew was suspect. And you know what? The same exact thing happened to me last week as well. So reference is way more critical than you might be thinking. It's a in the When I was a graphics professional, we had an expression which other professions use too. It's called garbage in, garbage out. You got garbage reference, it's going to be hard to make a brilliant painting. And on that note, I bid you adieu. Could you please hit the like and If you did like the video, give me a comment. I'd appreciate it. And until I come back, take good care, stay out of trouble, and fight the power.